That happens. But then there's persons of interest, and there's persons of even greater interest. And those are the people who the system is, there's a couple of reasons why you could have why this happens to you, even to a greater extent than it does most people. One is that you are an older soul, you've been around a lot, you've learned a lot, and you're really pretty grown. And now you're in a new avatar, and you're trying to pull it all back, out of your memory space, out of who you are. Pull all that knowledge back to where you can go on from there. But before you can go on from where you left it the last time, you have to get back up to where you were the last time. And though that's a pretty usually quick thing, you need little triggers and little things to help you get there. So what we call the old souls that have been around a while, they will have more of those things happen to them to nudge them to see bigger pictures in order to get back to the point where they're now aware like they were before, but still have a lot more life to live, to learn, to go even further. So that's one reason that you could be of special interest to the system.
Yeah,
the system's
especially.
trying to prod you a little bit, and it gives you these bones just to help you get back to where you were more quickly. Okay. And then there's another group after that that's even more of interest to the larger conscious system. And that's those people that the system wants to use for a specific reason. Those people are going to grow up and do some things that are going to help lower entropy or help people understand in a larger way. So they come with kind of a mission, things they're supposed to be doing. They need to wake up and understand the reality, and they need to do it sooner rather than later. So those people then get even a larger, banquet of paranormal and very strange experiences handed to them. And, you kind of know that's true if the people who get these experiences are freaked out by it and it frightens them, then they're not ready. Right. And usually those experiences go away. But the people that get even super strange experiences, it doesn't frighten them at all. They just go, gee, life is strange, and they go on. And they are ready. So that's one way the system knows whether you're ready to take the next step or not. So if he's trying to prod an old soul and the old soul gets freaked out because they're not used to flying around at night or whatever, having precognitive dreams, then they're not ready yet. You see? So anyway.
I know of a left brain physicist that might have been ready to write a theory of everything.
I had lots of things happen to me. That were very strange, that were I don't know, I guess you'd call them paranormal. They defied the probabilities. Yeah, my life was full of those things. I started very young. I can remember about 5 years old, sitting in the back seat of my father's car with a little bean that fell out of trees that were in my backyard. It was a little pod and it had these little beans in it. And for some reason, in my mind, I thought that if I threw this bean up in the air and made a wish while it was in the air and then caught it, that would come true. So I'd use that to turn stoplight green for my dad, who was driving the car. When we get to the next stoplight, it'll be green, and then pretty soon I forgot the bean. I realized the bean really didn't have anything to do with it, that I could just do that with my mind. So, even as a little guy, I was practicing, modifying future probability with intent. To me, that was an obvious thing to do. So yes, if you're a person of interest, you get these little ideas and things, and stuff happens to you to wake you up. It's just the way it is.
That's really a sweet story.
I had some things to do. So yeah, I had that. I called them my magic beans. I don't even remember the name of the tree, but they were just big seeds. They looked a little like buckeyes, but were smaller than that. Which looks sort of like a chestnut or something, but smaller and shinier. But Anyway.
That and the magic pocket.
It grew in the alley out behind the house.
Oh, all right.
That
what about the magic pocket?
Oh, yes, I had a magic pocket too. Bob Monroe had a magic pocket. Yeah, he also had one. So it's something the system does to wake up people. You know, he had a magic pocket. My magic pocket was in an old pair of pants that were old, not because I wore them old. They were old because somebody else wore them old, and they were hand-me-downs. And I was too small to get into them, but they were being kept in a closet for me to grow into them. And they had this pocket in it. And I could reach in that pocket every once in a while, and there'd be money in the pocket. And I knew intuitively I wouldn't reach in it again like the next day, that wouldn't work. There wouldn't be any money there. And if I gave it enough time, and if the need for the money was a good need, like I needed some extra money so that I could buy things for my family for Christmas, that kind of thing. If it was a good need, then I could, if I didn't press it too much, I just get that feeling, I should go check the pocket, and I would, and there'd be more money in it. And I pulled money out of that for years, just pulling money out of that pocket. And I'd empty it, and there'd be more money in there. And no, nobody was sneaking money into the pocket of those old pants that were stuffed back in the back of the closet. The system was just doing that to help me get the idea that life was strange, and that strangeness was actually ordinary. You know, it wasn't any big deal. Just kind of get used to that idea.
So you could remember these things when you were a skeptical physicist and continue on with your journey.
Yeah.
Well, these things are rare on the fringe. There's things with Bob Monroe, this evidence for him. I didn't know he had a magic pocket too. That's interesting.
He did.
But
I expect there are probably hundreds of people out there that have magic pockets. Because, you know, once the system has a ploy that it uses that works, it uses it. You know, it uses it all over. So there's lots of things that, you know, I know they have virtual realities that they give people, and they are the same.
Yeah.
Because it is like a game, and other people can play. Because I've run into numerous people who have had the exact same out-of-body experience that I've had. I mean, exactly, right down to the last detail.
Mm-hmm.
Not just similar, but the exact same experience. With the same players, the same characters, saying exactly the same things, exactly the same way. And, well, it's just like playing any other video game, right? It's a virtual reality, and it has this little thing that it's a test, has somebody, you know, can take the test. So I've run into people that, you know, had exactly the same test. Matter of fact, I had a test that, you know, Bob Monroe had. I think I wrote about that in it. So there are tests that the system uses, because if they work well, why would it not use it again or use it often? It just doesn't have to keep reinventing new ways.
Virtual reality copy and paste, right?
Yes, virtual reality. It's a virtual reality. I mean, how many people can play a virtual reality game? As many people as has access to it, right? And they'll find the same characters, and those characters, you know, those NPCs will say exactly the same thing in exactly the same way, you know, give you your quest in exactly the same way, and the quest is exactly the same quest as any player who plays that game. And yeah, it's a virtual reality. It's a virtual reality game, but all the out-of-bodies are like that. They're single-player games between you and the system, but it usually gives you a custom game to help you grow up. But I think there's a certain number of its games are just standard. It doesn't have to keep reinventing that wheel. It's got something that works, it uses it.
Well, Philippe, you got more out of your question than I bet you expected on that one. So thanks for asking it. That was very fun.